Welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast. This is a show where we aim to educate, inspire and entertain through real life stories and interviews from people in the Scottish property community.
As always, thanks for listening and give us a follow on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember to join us at our monthly networking events on the first Wednesday of every month. Tickets are available on our website. So without further ado, we'll just cut straight into this week's podcast. Yes, big up the Grunters.
What's happening?
He's back. He's grunting.
Everybody's coining that all over the country now. You need to fucking trademark that.
Aye, mate, I was slaughtering Grunters as well the first time on. I'm buying fucking half. Aye, but mate, obviously I've been buying quite a few in Aberdeen now, so I obviously bought that big Gordon Street one, which was my first in Aberdeen.
Plenty up there.
Aye, and I was quite worried though, because their value was so high, so I thought I'm going to need to de-risk with some Grunters. But I'm getting them tented out, no bother. I'm getting 600, 700 rent. They're revaluing.
The rents are strong in Aberdeen, and for what you're paying them for, they're good.
Aye, and the rates are coming down slightly, so I've been using Aldermore mainly because I don't want to take the risk of going to Lend Invest and get below 75 and waste another 6 weeks. So like,
because Aldermore on the 50, 55 minimum value now.
Aye.
So you're well above it now.
Aye, that's the thing. But like, if it's a 70 grand one and you go to Lend Invest or FHL, I don't want to take that risk and waste a resubmission for you and like all the time. So the rates are pretty good. The cash flow is good. So
have you been crowned the Mayor of Stanley yet?
No yet, mate. I'm going for it. I bought another few in Stanley as well. But aye,
still living in the North East then?
Aye. So I've been in there 4.5 years now.
Recently married, mate. Congratulations.
Thanks. Aye, there we go, man. So,
I look like a mad one out in was it Ibiza?
It was in Ibiza. So we got engaged 2023 and then got married in Ibiza just a few weeks ago. So it was a 3-day event. But we got robbed at the airport. I don't know if you saw that when you were there. So 20 grand at the airport and my laptop. So we had loads of suitcases, weighs like 10. We were struggling with our stuff, and then our boys kind of caused a distraction in the car park. I've looked down, the laptop bag's away and her bag's away. We had the passports, bank cards, and we had the money in as well. Yeah. So they find my iPhone. I've fucking phoned the guard there, went down, jumped in the motor. We've chased the guy. I've lost him somewhere in the mountains, but he dumped the bag and got the stuff back.
Did you see him in the distance go?
He was about a football pitch away, but up the hill
with the laptop and all that.
We didn't have the laptop. He had a sports. He had like a Sports Direct bag or something with the bag in it. Right. So he's obviously done like a. Mate, I didn't even see him nick it. It was my missus. She's like, where the fuck's the bags?
Just while you were kind of getting organised at the airport.
Aye, so I was going in the car, and then this guy started beeping at me like, move your car. So I've jumped in and moved out, and I've came out and the bags are gone.
So is that his accomplice then? Is that they work in a partnership?
Like, it must be gangs or something, but I worked in Ibiza and I lived in Ibiza, so I was in the car park at the airport. So you don't think it's going to happen to you. So it was a shit start to the wedding.
Wait a minute, 20 grand?
20,000 euros. It was to pay suppliers for the wedding.
Oh, you had cash?
Aye. Well, it was to save me money, but it ended up costing me. Should have just paid the VAT. Aye. Man, it's a nightmare, but like loads of folk offered help after it. I'm in a good position as well. Like I was able to pull in invoices I was doing stuff, so a bit of perspective on that side. Like if I was a knob, everybody black get up, yeah. Like
that's a lot though. Because last time you came on the podcast, I was looking back, October 2023, and there's a lot happened, guys. So stay tuned for this because we've got big numbers coming up in terms of Kris's growth over the last couple of years. But last time you told us about a situation where you lost 100 grand as well.
Aye, see, to be fair, man, like, again, that was a middleman, a loan for a guy for what I thought was a property deal, and it wasn't. It was a guy I knew for back in the day. He had documents and stuff like that, but it turns out they were forged. So I managed to recover some of it, but I think it cost me like 30% to get it collected. So again, I had to pay that out of my own pocket. But this is the thing with property, is like, it's so common. See, when I speak to folk, there's folk getting done for hundreds of thousands, there's folk getting done for millions. So
we're going to touch a bit on that later on, about due diligence. You know, obviously, with the rate that you're going, you see a lot of deals. Aye. You deal with a lot of sources, and you're kind of seeing the good, bad and ugly. Do you know what I mean? So I want to break into that, but give the listeners a wee flavour of, you know, what you've managed to achieve over the last kind of, let's say, you know, well, let's just start off this year.
This year I've already bet last year. So last year I done 153 deals and bought and
Wait a minute, these are sourced
deals. 193 properties and over 153 deals last year.
Wow.
This year I'm on 164, I think, when it's like 212 properties. So portfolios are quite popular now, especially up the road. And buying wise, I've bought and completed on 28 already this year.
That's
and last
your own portfolio?
Just me, with another 23 or 24 in legals. And then last year, done the full year, bought and completed 24. I'd agreed 36. A portfolio 8 fell through, so really it's 28. So my fall through rate's touchwood's quite low as well, but that's what helps get the deals. But it's 2023 was my first year. I didn't do any deals in 2022 when I started. 2023 I done 75 and bought 17, so it's going up the right way. I've lost a lot of weight. I'm looking after myself more now, but I'm working more than ever as well, and I'm obviously, just through default, you're kind of growing new businesses and stuff, like the lettings and stuff like that as well. So,
but you did say in one of your voice notes, I'm pretty sure, that you're putting a wee stall to the personal acquisitions for your own portfolio and concentrating on the sourcing stuff. So just why is that? So
I've done too much, like, let's be honest. I've bought quite a lot aggressively. I've got some big bridging loans there, like the Aberdeen one I've done, that's a $250,000 house at the end. The Edinburgh one's like 560 grand. I've
got the HMO one in Edinburgh.
Revalued
so
at
it's not
560.
just Grunters, because you've bought some good quality stock as well. That Edinburgh one, I mean, guys, if you want a flavour of what Kris is doing, the best thing I can advise you is go to his Instagram, because he's putting on daily the stories and all the properties that he's buying. So that's the best way to see what we're talking about here. But the Edinburgh one's like overlooking the castle and that, isn't it?
It's literally like, I've got that one in Edinburgh right on the castle. You come out and turn left, the castle's there. I've got one going through in London which completes next week, so it'll be completed by the time this comes out. It's worth 330 and I'm getting it for 195. Brilliant. So again, like, I've grew up with fuck all in the scheme, and like the Edinburgh thing for me was like, you grew up in the scheme, you've got nothing.
By Edinburgh now.
And then the London thing's something similar. Like my uncle, who's my kind of inspiration, he's got 4 in London nearby, and he was messaging me loads of questions. I was answering him. He's like, I don't know how you've done that, but fair play. But it's just, deals seem to fall in your lap at times.
Where are you getting the cash from to buy these deals? Because obviously, like, you don't have a job anymore.
Sourcing like a motherfucker.
You don't have a job anymore, right? So you're doing the sourcing. Obviously, that's your main. Is that your bread and butter income?
Sourcing's my income, and the investments is. I mean, I'll look at say I've got a deal I could buy off of you, and I've got tenanted houses. I can go, the rents cover that, and then it just compounds. But like I said, I have bought too much, and it's
trying to backtrack. I mean, just stall and maybe pay off the debt, clear a few bit.
I've been paying, chip my way down as I go. So my wee early one, I've took 20% off the mortgage in 13 months. I max out the 10% overpayment. I've used the net profits for the bookings. I've got a 1,650 a month booking now until September for February. So the net's about 1,200 a month. So I just pay that like little and often.
That's sensible though, man, isn't it? Like, I feel like people that grow mental everyone thinks, oh, Kris is going to fucking crumble because he's just going too fast. But I've been getting the same like a lot last year. Why not buy anything in the last year and a half? Because I'm paying down debt. Like, you went mental for a year or two, fucking come back and go, right, this
you relate to this?
Absolutely. I think it's really sensible.
See, when you're speaking to Ewan and stuff like that, but as well, you're speaking to you and he's agreeing this, and you're speaking to like Barry John and he's fucking buying 30 a day and all that, and you're like, I'm not doing enough. So you get swept up in it, but then see, when you're actually looking at it, you're thinking, I need to really watch myself here, because you can get caught short, because your big issue is the cash flow when you're doing these. Like, I was in about 20 odd bridging loans there, 20 refurbs, doing the Edinburgh one 70 grand, my Chalkwell block 70 grand, my Aberdeen one was 85 grand. There's just $250,000 off the top of my head.
That's just for the refurb?
That's just my refurbs, So it's like,
you get carried away. It's like next minute, like, if you miscalculate, you're fucked, you're
up the creek.
Well, one of the things I wanted to ask you was, because obviously you're based in just outside Newcastle, yeah?
So just up for the metro centre, it's called Wickham.
But like you've just alluded to there, your deals are happening all around the country.
Yep.
And nothing really stops you. And you don't, I don't know, you seem to just kind of, you make decisions very quickly, don't you? You don't, it's not as if you're driving up to Aberdeen to view the property or anything like that. You just go with it.
Well, that's the thing, like the one in Aberdeen, the Gordon Street one, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't really see any downside. It works as an HMO, so there's 2 exits. There's a lot of negativity in Aberdeen at the time, but I'd done my numbers in 220, came back the other day at 250. But then in the meantime, off the back of that, I've then got to learn more about Aberdeen, build new connections. I've got builders that were travelling up to Aberdeen and stuff like that as well. So I've managed to build a decent rep for doing deals, and obviously builders will want in on it because you're going to give them consistent work. Like,
how do you manage that then, when you basically start with no contacts and you're carrying out a hefty refurb, trying to get that building team? Do you just try and get one kind of main contractor that deals with the whole lot?
It's like Barry John said a good thing. We were out for lunch a couple of months ago with Ewan, and he was saying it's like a football team. You're always having to sign new players, so you have a really good builder, and then they maybe get slack because they think they're in and stuff like that. So always try and work off a few build teams and stuff like that. In the North East, I've got a really good relationship with my builders down there. I mainly use RJR Property Group. He's just across the road from me. He's got a big property portfolio as well. So he just understands what we need as landlords. So it's not, because I've dealt with builders before and they just think property investor, fuck him, he's loaded, and the stall and the materials are shite and stuff. So it's the build is the hardest part of it. You know yourself with the maintenance and stuff as well. Like it's just a headache.
And when you're looking at pulling the trigger on these deals, because you don't mess about, what are you mainly analysing? What's important to you? What the figures important to you? Is it like, are you looking for the all money out? Obviously that's what everybody's looking for. Or what, you happy leaving a certain amount in?
In 15 grand or under really left in, and I want to buy stuff that's quality assets as well. So you want stuff that's not going to be a hassle exiting in time. So you're looking at some things, for example, the Gordon Street one, I keep going back to that, 4 bed, 2 bathroom, it's got its own garage for parking. So I think that's going to do really well as SA up there because it's got so many factors going for it.
Fucking $2 grand a month as an HMO at least.
Exactly. So I just try and think like, what's my exit here? I try and be a bit spread out as well. So for example, Airbnb wise, I've got one in Gretna that's been dynamite, to be honest with you. Then I've got one in Haltwhistle, which has been really good. That's just along the A69. So you go for Gretna across to Newcastle. I've got 3 Airbnbs along there, but they're spread out for each other as well. So you're not competing against yourself.
Is that Gretna? Is that like contractor market? Or?
Aye, it's fucking. We just got a booking extended this morning, so it's 178 a night direct booking. And
what's that size of property? Is that
4 bed?
Has it got its own driveway and all that? Or
it's got parking. It's not got its own driveway though, but it's just on street parking basically. Right. But it's last year I think that netted like 30 odd grand.
Is that
for one property?
What kind of purchase price was that?
78. The home report was 125, but we got a hefty down value, so we done a big refurb on it. And then they valued it at 125 still, when we were hoping for kind of 150, 160.
So I hear you talking about the down values. I hear you talking about that lately. You've been talking about that on your stories.
Aye.
Can you give us a specific example of one that's not really worked out and how you've managed to recover from that?
I've had quite a few, to be honest with you. So my one in Jamaica Street in Aberdeen, so the builders had told me it's ready for this date and stuff like that. They've came to a building site, land investing valued at 55k. So I thought to myself, that's crippled me here.
You've done your numbers on what?
I'd done it on 70, 75. So I'll push for 75 with land invest because that's a minimum value. So I bought it for 39,999, spent 15 on it. It valued as a building site at 55, so it could have maybe got to 75. I went to Aldermore and they gave 60. So that's tying in a lot of money. So 39,999, 15 grand, and I paid a sourcing fee as well. So 3 grand.
How much is that tying in?
That's probably going to leave about 13, 14 grand in. But then
someone in Aberdeen should have been all money out.
Really, aye. And then I bought one on Friday. The home report was 60. The desktop valuation was very high confidence level, 56.5. So usually I find the desktops are quite good because the physicals tend to come in 5 to 10% higher. I bought it on the Friday at 39,999, valued at Monday at 50 when I was hoping for 60. But it's not the end of the world still because I'm pulling out 37.5 grand. I bought it for 39,999.
Yeah.
I've got a tenant lined up near enough already at 550 a month rent, and my next one gets valued on Friday, which is home report 65. So if I get 60 above on that, it's a result. But again, you need to factor it in. That's why I don't touch my rents and stuff like that. And
so all your rental income from your buy-to-let portfolio, what have you got now? 80 or something?
I'm going to have 79, I think, in total, or 80, because some of the charges on Company's House are just bridging loans that haven't been satisfied.
You know what I like to check you out on Chuck Company's House?
You need to check folk out though, because so many folks say they're active and then you go on, there's fuck all there in Company's House. I think see as well, like another thing with the Edinburgh thing, if somebody goes and looks and goes, fucking hell man, look at the addresses. We've got ones in Bovo.
It's good for your own. Like, say, I don't know if you're doing much raising private investor finance now as well, but all you need to say to people is just, like, if you've got any doubts, just look what I'm doing.
Yep.
And look at what I've done in the past couple of years, because it's all there.
Aye.
Documented.
The thing is as well with the sourcing income, like I probably reinvest 80% of it, so I'm using it to try and get ahead of myself, refurbishments, pay down investors.
How much do you think you made this year alone on sourcing?
So I think it's like 900 grand this year so far, but that's not all mine. Let's assume it's all co-sourced, 450.
Okay.
Then obviously I was going to say project management, but I don't really charge it, to be honest with you. I do think it's a bit of a scam that. Like, you're going to take pictures. Like, fucking, I'm not organising it. I've got a trades that's doing that.
Builders go do it anyway.
There's one time I charged it about a year ago, and it was because it was 2-hour drive there and back, and I was going up and getting regular updates and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. Talk to us about the nuts and bolts of co-sourcing, because, like, I don't know, like, we've been doing this podcast for what, 5-6 years, right? And we're probably quite well known. I don't want to seem big-headed, but we seem probably quite well known amongst the community, right? But very rarely do we get kind of, that's because I've not bought property for about 5 years probably, but rarely do we get kind of messages saying, you know, have you got anybody for this? Have you got anybody? So how did you position yourself as that go-to guy where everybody's coming to you with deals?
This is the thing, I just crack on every day, and this is the thing, like, see, when I get invited to do things like this and I've got my numbers, I'm like, fucking hell, that's brilliant, but I'm never going to rest my laurels and just think, look at me, I'm the big I am.
I'll be able to sit back then,
exactly.
Keep going.
So I'm still getting up like, I was up at 6 o'clock this morning, taking the dog out of the toilet, taking the thing away. I was doing my calls on the way up, so I'm just still doing it like I was in 2022 and 2023, and I'd not done a deal yet. And people maybe just see that move quick, they get paid quickly, the deals tend to not fall through. But the problem is as well, like I get sent one the other day, and I've sent it to an investor, and it turned out it wasn't even secure. So then the investor's pissed off at me because he's dealing with me, which rightly so. So there is a dark side to it at times as well, because people are maybe going, oh,
how do you kind of then backtrack? Do you just kind of backtrack and go back to the guy who sent you that originally and say, wait a minute, what's going on here? This is now my reputation.
This is the thing, it's on me at the end of the day. Like, the investor doesn't care that he never had it secured. I've sent it to him, he's obviously making...
Then stop you working with that certain cultures and saying, but I don't trust what you're bringing me again.
We managed to get it accepted in the end, so it was a really good deal. But when they send something, I'll ask for like photos, because there was one time in Aberdeen we got sent one and the guy hadn't viewed it, and as soon as I found out he'd not viewed it, I gave the boy's money back, and there was a bit of damp. The boy got his fee back, and then he revalued $5,000 higher, so it actually worked out well for him. But it was his first deal. Yeah. So I'm just like...
So that would have stung him if he didn't.
Exactly. He was pretty cut up about it at the time, which I would have been.
So if people are listening to this and they're out finding deals and they want, you know, they don't have an end buyer for it and they want to reach out to yourself, what's the stuff they need to know that they need to come to you, provide you with?
So they need to have, obviously, like, secured purchase price, actual secure, no, the agent said they'll take this, or he says he'll take that. So,
and can it be on the market on Rightmove?
It could be anywhere. Like, I've paid fees for stuff on them. I've paid fees for stuff on auction and paid a sourcer. So, like, I still do it, so I don't see the problem with that. Like, see the whole off-market thing as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
It's good. It is good, right? But, like, they want top dollar because they think, it's off-market, and that one down the road went.
So let's just talk about that. You know, everybody goes, it needs to be off-market, and this is what you hear on all the courses as well.
It takes time to go and sift through Rightmove and find a deal on the market as is off-market.
Mate, it's hard, and you need to see, like, I'll tell you a belter. It's actually going through tomorrow, so... I bought one in Allendale in Hexham for $47,500. It was on the market. So
where?
Allendale, it's like a wee town in Hexham. It's like lovely.
Nice.
Put it on the map, just like Chopwell and Stanley, man. So it was up for 70, and obviously I've built that good a relationship with agents up that when I'm putting a low offer in, they're now taking it seriously. So I put 39,999 in. They're phoning the seller. It was up for 70. Like, you better take that. Desktop value was 130 grand on it. Where it was end value is 180. Because I spoke to upstairs. It's on a buy-to-let mortgage, and they've got a 135 mortgage on it. So I'm like, I'm on a winner here. But 30 grand a year gross in Airbnb, so about 15 net. Ended up, they let it run to auction, so it was a bit of a waiting game. And you know what it's like with auctions, the dummy bids fly in, and I know my missus says I've tismed up or something because I noticed the bid patterns, and I'm like, that's a fake bid straight away. So I phoned up post-auction, and I was like, I take it the buyer didn't pay his fee, and they're like, no, and I was like, right, well, I'll go up to 47.5, but I was prepared to go to 55. I've spent 20 on it so far, and it's going through tomorrow at 130 because I'm buying another one in Hexham for Ross Allen. So he bought a flip off me down there that just didn't sell. So I'm now buying that off him. It's a 100 yards feature. Right. So I'm selling that one. I bought it in March. I'm selling it. I'm getting about 35 net profit. Then I'm buying his one on vendor financing. So I'm paying the stamp duty and the legals up front and paying him off the refi. Right. So that's another thing as well. Like, I've had a few where, like, people, the flips haven't quite worked, and I've sourced them on his turnkey SAs or HMOs or whatever, but I've stepped in and bought that one because he's trusting me. He's for Scotland, and he's trusting me in Newcastle. I told him 295, I think, and the agent said 320. So, and like, everybody's baffled as to how it doesn't sell, but then I'm just going to SA it, and it gets a headache away for him and keeps that relationship going. But
absolutely,
a lot of sources will be tough tits. See you later, like, cheers. Like, and it's a big stress, man. You've got double council tax, utilities. let's be honest, if it was in Scotland, maybe it'd be more appetite for it because it's a place he knows. He's probably bought down there because it was me.
Was that important for you to maintain that relationship? Like, was he pissed off at the time? Or?
No, like the house was done to a nice standard. It just, like, everybody's baffled, even myself. And then I said to him, I'll fucking buy it off you, like, and I'll just run it as an SA. But I suppose for him that's quite a good thing because he shows I actually believe in the deal.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, no,
I didn't sell him shit and then try to wipe your washing hands with him. You're saying, okay, I'll buy it back.
So for me again, I can go and take the dog and my missus if we're going a weekend away. So this is another thing, you're building these things, like you've now got a place to stay if you're spread out and stuff. But I think unless she wants fancy staying in Jamaica Street for a wee night of romance, man.
Go to Jamaica Street.
But do you know what I mean? It's quite good for investors because they're like, well, he's fair enough. He actually believed in it. Because I do believe in the deals that I sell, and if I do think they're shite, I'll tell someone as well. I'll be honest with them. I'll go, look, it's not the greatest, but
it's up to you.
Gets you going, aye.
How are you filtering out? Talking about investors, how are you filtering out? Because you must get loads of messages now from investors as well. You know, because you're constantly talking about the deals and stuff like that. So people must reach out to you all the time. How do you filter out the tire kickers?
It's quite hard sometimes. Like you get an intuition, do you know what I mean? But you get some people and they'll maybe book a call and then they'll maybe not turn up and stuff like that. So I just leave them. And then with my deals group, if people reply, like somebody replied to a deal yesterday asking for details, and I replied to his previous message where I'd sent him a previous deal, like, I'll get back to you, and I went, nah, like, I'm still waiting for the last deal. Right. So I almost kind of banter with them about it.
Any other kind of like bad experiences you've had with investors lately, or like, you know, people that are saying that they're going to buy your deals and then they fall, you know, pulled out at the last minute, because that can affect your reputation as well, eh? People not following through with stuff.
See now I've got a good rep though. It's quite good because by the time it goes to, like, for example, like I've done nearly 200 deals basically this year between myself and investors, but I counted the actual WhatsApp group and not much of it's making it in there. So by the time it makes it in there, sometimes it's like...
Do you just have your preferred? Do you just have like a handful that you would go to? Like,
I just know straight away that this would... So before we went in here, I spoke to an investor yesterday, had a call with months ago, and he wanted really good stock. So we were sorting it, me and Ewan, on HMO. So we're just trying to get that sorted for him, and we'll go out and hopefully tie it up. But you know straight away, you just get a knack, and you know who's buying, and you know who's refinancing. You get into a knack.
How is your system for onboarding clients? Do you make them sign anything? Do you take money up front? How does it work for you?
It's all led by them because it's their money. So I just say to them, you can pay a fee up front if you want, or you can pay nothing. I'm going to treat you the same. And they just give a criteria on, like, that's written down. And then obviously I'll send them some deals, but you need to take everyone at face value. And I think,
what was if you get one where it's like, right, here's my criteria, I'm looking for X value, this kind of stock, this money in it, and you send them 2 or 3 that you know that fits that criteria, and then you just fuck them off and send them stuff.
Because at the end of the day, like, I'm in a good spot now, so I'm too busy to be dealing.
You don't need them.
And it actually comes across with investors as well that I couldn't care less if they buy it or no, because I know someone else will. So that's the really good thing about it, is I know somebody else will buy that because it's a solid deal.
From a point of abundance now, rather than trying to flip and chase down an investor that's going to waste time.
See, at the start, mate, I was on the UK deals and opportunities, investor groups, phoning everybody off that, and it teaches you though, like you kind of, it's like kissing the frogs, isn't it?
Do you ever kind of, like, obviously you've got enough that you don't need, but do you ever think to yourself, well, it's not too outrageous that somebody actually wants to take a bit of time to think about it and do their numbers and actually, view the property and stuff like that, you know? Is there just no time
I
for
had
that?
a boy from Switzerland, they flew over on Saturday, so he's followed me on LinkedIn for a while. He actually paid a sourcer a fee up front and they blocked him. The boy was in Wigan. So I says, mate, fly over, come see some projects. So we went and saw them. And he was wanting to pay a fee up front, but then he was saying, but we need to fly over for Switzerland to view it. And I says, mate, I shouldn't say it, because this was a Saturday as well. I was like, I know I shouldn't say this, but don't bother paying me the fee up front because you're not going to have the time. Because they're looking for flips. So, like, a good, you know what it's like, a good flip, especially if they come up, then it's going to go like that. So I would rather be honest to the guy rather than saying, pay me the fee. And then we do sign our terms of business. We got a sourcing agreement and stuff like that as well.
But then you'll never be able to deliver him something because he'll be
more chance. And he's a banker, he's quite high up in banking as well. So it's just like,
you like your Swiss bankers, don't you? You've got some connection out there, man.
My phone book's mental now. I just can't see one of the boys, right? He works at HSBC and he's like, I'm going to put you onto my boss. Like, he's been talking about you and that. Like, he's interested. So I've got on the phone to the boss and I'm like, this guy's pretty official. And I googled him and he's the CEO. and he's buying fucking and Stanley. He's the CEO at HSBC. I've got and then he's put me on guys for Saudi Arabia that work in the bank.
By the way, that guy's LinkedIn just now is going mental. Like everyone's like,
listen, man, I'm confident in my abilities anyway. So that's another thing as well. Like I don't mind tagging my investors and other people now. Where I see at the start, like
you'd be reserved about it and try to keep everything all secret.
I'm just quite confident in my abilities.
If you're trying to attract people, I don't think you need that many, do you?
No.
Like if you can find
a few serious buyers that got a decent
three or four decent buyers.
But it all filters out for that because it started off with that guy, right? The boy at HSBC's then put me on his boss. So he's bought a few deals. He's then put me on his friend that sold his company. There's two of them.
Aye.
They then put me on to another friend, and then they met a guy down the pub for Lincoln. They're talking about property, like you should speak to this guy, Chris.
Yeah.
So it kind of just spirals out naturally.
And it's like, see, being a letting agent as well. Like people are like, I speak to other letting agents, right? And I say, business is terrible. Landlords selling up, all the rest of it, right? I've got like
Chris buying 50 this year.
That's why it's good having you on because it shows, like I go on some of the calls with the older school landlords and all that, and it's a nightmare.
Aye. So, I think it's quite positive now, obviously.
I think it is positive, and like a lot of our landlords who are like, because we obviously started targeting portfolio landlords right from the start, right, and that's the way the business grew. So like we've got 2 or 3 that are still buying like regularly at the moment, so it's just a constant stream of growth.
But the good thing is as well, like I like to do things properly in the refurb, so I always want to rewire and skim it and put a new boiler in.
Your refurbs are good.
So you're getting a brand new. The average spend's like 30 grand plus for investors.
See your rents that up front rather than fucking in 10 years time. You're trying to disturb a tenant.
Are your rents, are you just reinvesting everything back in the portfolio then?
So I'm paying things down, servicing bridging loans, servicing investor interest. I've started to put certain purchases on repayments now, phone up here and there and pay off. I had an Airbnb that wasn't performing. There was one in Sacriston near Durham, and it tied to a mortgage in Houghton Spring because it failed the stress test. So I had to club them together. And it was £1,100 a month running costs. I was expecting £50 a more daily rate. And it was pulling in 500 profit, and I'm like, that's a lot of risk for 500 quid. Mm-hmm. So I sold it for 26 grand net profit, and it just came off the other mortgage. So I raised money off one of the Swiss boys for it at the start, 90 grand purchase, 10 grand rental, revalued at 150, had it for a year cash flow and £500 a month, and then sold it. So I've created 26 grand equity like that, and it's came off the other mortgage. My cash flow is now up 30%. So I don't see any downside to paying down because it'll be brilliant. I've got fucking 100 units and all that, but what's your LTV? What's your plan if the bank's...
It's in at 80% loan to value and the market dips down 10%, you're sitting there squeezed.
But sometimes they're higher because obviously they're getting a steamy or whatever, they're getting a toppy value, and I just think...
That's one thing I have noticed. Like, certain people, right? I mean, we're not going to mention names in this podcast. I'd love to, but like Carrie, because it just puts us as a target. But like, some of the valuations are coming back quite high. You talk about down valuations, there's over valuations as well. And I'm just thinking, like, see if you're getting like 140k for a cottage flat in Glasgow and stuff like that. Fair play to you, getting all your money back out and all the rest of it. But what happens, like, if that market turns and you come at the end of your 5-year fixed deal and then you go into standard variable rate, you're not going to be making much money. Okay, so fancy making £1,000 for sending a WhatsApp? Let's take a wee break to talk about referring sellers to John and Lewis at Prime Property Auctions. Me and Stephen have both done it, and it couldn't be easier. If you know someone selling a property, the guys will pay you £1,000 or 1% of the sale price, whatever's higher, just for passing their details. Doesn't matter if the seller is already with an estate agent or not, just drop the guys a message and they'll do everything from the first call to getting the property sold. Know someone who might be looking to sell or struggling to get a result with their agent? Go to the link in the show notes and send them a message now. Right and even.
I sourced one to a boy the other day, the other month, and the other day he got his revalue back at 2-bed flat, 140 he got. I said to him about 130, 135. He's getting 1,100 rent. Right. I sold the deal at 900 rent, so straight away I'd be thinking in my head there's 2,400 a year. Because it compounds in a good way, like, because it's coming straight off the principal. And then obviously if you keep your monthly payment the same, you're then eating away again. But people like... Fucking, I don't know, man. Like, it just gives me the fear of losing it all.
We had that recently with an investor. Like, the investor was up to pay their debt back. We got money back in. We said, well, do you want your money back? We're like, nah. We're like, well, what we'll do that, sit with the money. We'll just pay the mortgage clean off and leave it unencumbered. Rather than sitting there with the money, we might as well just pay the mortgage off. And if the investor ever wants their money back in a year's time or 5 time, you go, come on, just refinance those 2 properties. But at least you're de-leveraging, you're pulling your
Don't get me wrong, I love leverage. That's why I love property.
Do it correctly though. Aye. So I think some folk aren't doing it correctly, and then
it's all good as long as the market keeps going up.
But that's the thing as well, like fucking.
Well, is the market going to keep going up?
Aye.
Like, what if anybody follows 18-year property cycle? I got stung right at the start of my property career in 2008. So you know that the market doesn't just go up the way, but I think people that are maybe a bit younger and they're going, it just keeps going up.
The thing is as well, debt was so cheap after that because the base rate had zero to bring confidence back in the market as well. I don't know, I've aggressively scaled during and after the budget, so I've only really known high rates. My average rate's well into the 60s across the portfolio.
You're just using an
So why not just start where you are just now with the 80 units and just start paying them down? Why do you think you want? Have you got a figure in mind?
I had 100 in my head of 10 million value, but I'm approaching 10 million value already. So I don't know. You have a number in your head.
I think it's addictive though as well.
As I
was saying to somebody the other day when I was doing the workshop, like they were like, "Oh, when's enough?" And I mean, mine's from my daughter's legs. I've got one daughter. She's got more than enough. But if you see a property, you can get all your money back out. Use somebody else's money, lock in all this value, and go, "It's free property, and it cash flows me £300 or £400 a month." How's that not addictive to keep buying assets?
Exactly. The thing is as well, like what would hurt you more, like sourcing that on for a £3 or £4 grand fee, or
and spending it that month.
I think we've probably all got a similar something built into you, right? And it's like you don't knock back the opportunity. And it's like the same with me, even me with the lettings business, right? So like somebody comes to me with an 8-unit portfolio in Ayrshire, right? We don't really manage in Ayrshire, but I can't knock it back. I just can't knock it back because I'm like, there's the next step. Do you know what I mean? We can just start taking on properties in Ayrshire. That's the next point to the growth.
That's the thing as well. Like I've kind of just fell into lettings because I was fed up. I was arguing with agents about rent. So there was one particular property and I was saying to the agent, that's 700 all day. And she's like, nah, 550. And I was like, put it up at 700, see what happens. And they get 5 applicants. And I phoned them up and I says, you could have cost them £1,800 a year there. And she's like, would I got 700 anyway? I says, it's not a fucking auction for rent. No, what I mean? Like, you're not going to offer 30% more nearly.
So Stanley Property Shop is born?
Yeah, that was it. November 2023. So Kevin Valentine, who's Ewan's managing agent, he introduced me to him for some of mine. He actually manages my cottage flats that revalued at 140. These we did earlier a few minutes ago. So he manages them, and then like I was just saying, look, I think there's a chance in England because everybody's shiting themselves about the renters reform, and I'm like, I saw what happened in Scotland, man, so I'm all for it. And the rents are actually creeping up already. So Ewan was telling me the other day, he was listening to a podcast, and the North East is the highest rising. The house prices are up 13.3%. Actually, I read some articles as well after he said that, and then the rents are up about 9%. But I'm seeing the demand.
North East is good.
The demand's going like that. And
I think you're in a prime spot there to attract.
I think so as well.
Like, see, even all your kind of London investors and all that wanting up there.
They pushed to Manchester, and it's like they're pushing further north again because they're getting priced out there. They're not getting the.
But first of all, why the fuck are you using a Stirling-based letting agent to manage your Glasgow stock, mate?
Because you're slagging my cottage flats off.
I can still get your top rent for them, man.
No, it was just obviously Ewan had got me the deal and stuff like that. We'll see, mate. You can expand.
Buy a portfolio and take it to Nick, he'll be happy.
Bring me a portfolio, mate, and I'll get you the management.
This is fair play, man. If you're getting the valuations, fair play. I would do the same.
But that's why I want to pay down as well, because what happens if they turn around? Because I had one remortgage recently and I get downvalued on the remortgage, so I'm now 82% LTV on that. I get downvalued $5,000 or something like that, and that just goes to show you. And that was a 2-year fix, but I'm 5-year fix with everything, and I'm at high rates now. So in 2, 3, 4 years time.
Do you do that as well? I was saying this to some guys last week that was kind of on a mentorship call, and I was saying like a lot of the stuff that I'm putting on 5-year fix, I'm putting with lenders. Like I'm going to you and I'm going to Cammy and I'm saying, what lenders are just doing a product switch? Like I don't want to do a fucking revalue because all of them are doing a 5-year fix and I'll do a product switch. So you know what? I can park it 5 years. I don't have to worry about it in 5 years either. I can just go product switch it.
2 years flies in.
It's far too quick in a property market.
I had a bunch of stuff during COVID I'd bought, and then they all went up. They went for like 3.5 to fucking nearly 7%. So 5 years, you know you're at, and you actually have a picture of it. And then in 5 years, because I call them rate chasers. Oh, can you beat this? This is 0.1%. So in 5 years, I've got a big portfolio refinance, and then I'll be hopefully say I'm paying 6.5 now, and they're down to 4.
Bingo, cash goes up through the roof again.
But then I'll just go repayment on them, or like my LTV might be down, and
take it to the Bank of Scotland or wherever you want to go to a big bank and go, put a whole loan in the whole lot of the 90.
Because I think I'd paid about 100 grand off mortgages last year, but isn't it a lot in the grand scheme of thing? But then inflation was officially 2.8%. So there's 28 grand per million, it's 7 million. So there's 250 grand officially off the port. And then if you do that, keep just whittling off the eye.
All the time,
It was quite funny, right? Thinking back to when you started up the lettings, right? You announced it on your Instagram, and then within a few weeks of that, right, I had about 3 or 4 DMs and people coming up to me at the networking event going, "Oh, Nick, I'm thinking about getting into starting up a lettings agency and all that." So I don't think you realise how much influence you have on people, by the way. It just coincides with Kris starting up his lettings. I think I've said it on the podcast before. I've had 3 or 4 DMs. Nick, can I pick your brains for coffee? I'm just thinking about this, and it's like, obviously they're just watching your stories. I think that's the next thing. Do you know what it is? It's natural for me because, like I said, there's people from Scotland buying deals. I've got people abroad buying deals. I think you'll do well.
And it's in-house, so it's like, right, we source the property, we'll renovate it for you, and then we'll manage it. But I think the good thing for investors is if we're offering to manage it, then it shows he believes in the rental figure. It's just confidence for the
I'm getting chased constantly for fucking doing one in Aberdeen because we pulled all in-house. We've hired their own staff, hired their own maintenance, full-time maintenance staff to pull like the shit that we were doing with Aberdeen. Lens were like, right, we'll bring this in, we know what we're doing with the market, and all we're getting is like Ross Allen going, "I'm not buying anymore now. I need till you do another lettings." And I'm like, I'm not fucking managing other people's properties. Like, hard enough doing your own. But you do see that as a natural progressive step to do that. Like, you're buying them. You're taking a sourcing fee, or you're buying them yourself. Why not take the normal ongoing management going forward and maintain them?
The tenant finds a lot down there as well. It's 1-1 rent.
How do you look at it though as a business? Do you feel like it's got something you want to scale up and obviously progress into a good proper trading business with staff?
We're going to be on about 85 soon the next 2-3 months, and that's just all I've not even pushed it. So just building something that you've kind of actually, like I said, I was frustrated with other agents. They didn't know the market and they don't give a shit as well. Whereas if I've sourced a guy the property and then I'm taking him on the journey the full way, so it's a good buzz because you're taking them through, and sometimes you have maybe an apprehensive first time investor and you're taking them through, and then you get the rent that says, and you're getting everything in. It is a good buzz, and you're getting good pick of the tenants. We just done one there. It had about 70 inquiries or something like that, but the amount of inquiries we're getting was just crazy, and we said 750 to him and we ended up getting him a bit more as well, 775. We did try at 825, but we just weren't getting the right tenant, so we pulled it down a wee bit.
From an investor's point of view, it looks like the go-to guy in an area like that, because like you said, if you're sourcing a deal, you're believing in the deal, you're backing the end value, you're backing the rent, you're then going to take the management on. You're also then caring about what tenant you get it, because you guys are managing it. So you're not going to put in any shit in his property and going, "Oh, fuck, we're dealing with a headache here because we've got a nightmare tenant." You're going to get the best quality tenant as well as. So it shows full confidence in what you're selling.
The only hard thing has been the tenanted properties really when you're taking them on. Like, they can be challenging. But it's funny because I was looking at a property the other day, Nick straight along for one we manage, and he bought it. It was owner occupied, so it was lived in, all right condition, but it was lived in. And the thing says on Rightmove, you'll get £800 once this is fully renovated. I'm thinking, well, we just get 900 the next straight along, and it was no the greatest condition. It was all right, Nick, but owner occupied. So I'm like, you're maybe talking a grand 1,100. So even that, like I said again, the agents don't know. And then
I think that's one of my pet hates now is when you see like an estate agent selling a sub 100 or sub 120 grand property, and it's like great first time buyer or great buy to let. Like, how the fuck would you know about a buy to let property? Like, and then they'll put a quote like that going, "You'll get that for rent." No, you won't. Like, they're miles off or they don't know the market. Like, stick to what you fucking know.
Some of them don't understand it though.
See, the issue I've got, obviously, like, you're doing phenomenally well at the sourcing, right?
Yeah.
All built pretty much on personal brand and you in the trenches. The issue is though, obviously you've not got kids and all that, so you just got married, but when you start kind of having more responsibilities and that, there's only so many hours you can put in, right? And then you think to yourself, well, would you ever want to kind of sort of scale, staff, systemize the sourcing side?
We've got staff for lettings. We've got a lettings manager.
That's what I'm saying. So lettings is a great play for you, because I believe that you can make that work eventually by itself, be the owner of the business. See, for me, it's like, because you see all the time, right? People, I don't know, for a time there, it was like get involved in Arbonne and create your own business, create your own like lifestyle and all that. And then it was
Team
like
Fusion.
Like latest it is like self-employed estate agency, right? Which is good. And it works for people and it's good. We're going to get Evelyn in to talk about it. I think it's great, right? But the problem with that is, for me, that's not really a business. That's like you create
yourself a job.
You're creating yourself a job. Like, for me, a business is something that can work without you.
Yeah.
and it can generate money. So that's good that you're doing the lettings, but I'm talking about the sourcing as well. Could you do a similar thing with the sourcing and kind of like systemize and staff that?
I'm going to be on the lookout for folk, obviously, but the thing is as well, see, because I'm buying so heavily as well, and I'm just, that's another reason why I really need to take a step back and go, but I'm just thinking to myself, so I get bumped for the 100 grand that you're talking about, you get the down value here and there and stuff, so I need to pay an investor off. So I just feel like I'm bouncing from crisis to crisis at times, which is why, like, see when you're saying things about folk like coming up and asking about me as if I'm like this big shot, I genuinely think I'm doing shite at times, and I'm like, and it's totally irrational because I'm paying people back and stuff like that as well, but see, sometimes you just feel like you're running a house of cards that's going to collapse at any point, and it's totally irrational because my money's going into the deals, I'm communicating them, I'm paying them back, they've got charges, they've got personal guarantees, but it's probably just that self-doubt in your head.
Is there anything you don't share on Instagram? Because your stories are packed. Like you're packing those stories every day, the good, the bad, the shite. Like, is there anything you feel that you don't put on that you want to share here today that we can get exclusive?
No, just my scrans or whatever. I take pictures of my dog doing a shite some days and send it to my mates, but I don't think that'd be like putting that in DL Ventures. Here's my dog. But it's just what I'm saying is, there
any other like real shit that's happened like since we last spoke to you that's gone badly wrong?
Just
that people can maybe learn from. You know, I'm thinking about.
Do you know what I wanted if you can't come up with something was you're dealing with like loads of different sources from fucking all areas. It'd be good to hear about the good, the bad, and ugly, and kind of maybe not name names, but that, you know, people to watch out for some things, because there is some questionable fucking tactics going on in there.
What's the latest bullshit on social media?
And I know you'll call it. You'll fucking say
so see in the North East, there's obviously like down in TS1, which is like near Middlesbrough, down in Teesside. There was a bunch of folk just buying up shitholes there, and it was 65 purchase, 35 rental, 140 revalue, and they were just trying to ram them in before Article 4 came. There's a boy down the North East as well, and like I'm getting loads of folk coming to me because he's selling them HMOs that knows won't be HMOs, and then blanking them after the deal goes through. So he's telling them.
Why would they not get HMOs? Just because they wouldn't get the planning?
And some of them, and then Mears has maybe pulled out. So obviously reform's been voted in as well, and I think they've stopped in County Durham. Mears, because the guy, is that Darren Grimes, it's my councillor, and Tantobi's like where my dog goes to daycare, he's a councillor there, which is in County Durham, so they've put a stop to the Mears.
So this is sourcers packaging these deals as HMOs, so they look amazing on paper, but the reality is they're never going to get them.
So then they'll team up with people that have just started. So there was a lassie she kept popping up on my page, and she was in Midlands, but she was doing deals in the North East. They were packaging it as, we've got to buy it at the back end for you, but they didn't. So I've now had people phoning up and asking me to help them and stuff. I'm like, well, I don't really do HMOs for Mears and stuff. Like, I've toyed with doing Mears, like my 2 Aberdeen ones I was going to do it. I'm just like, do you know what, man? Like, I'm just going to put it in private let, because you hear so many good and so many bad, but I'm just like, there's just so much like negativity around at the moment.
You've done Mears, haven't you?
I've got about 5 or 6 with Mears, so I'm trying to.
What's your experience so far?
Good so far. They're slow to start with, and they're a fucking pain to get. Rather than giving you a full list of compliance, they give it to you and they come back 3 minutes in and go, oh, can you fix it? Can you do that? Can you not just pick that up in the one visit and get it done and dusted? So they drag their feet, and then their first rent doesn't come in for a month or
but
so.
it gets backdated.
And it gets backdated. So, but so far, so good. You know what? There was quite a funny story that, it wasn't funny, but the guy died. But there's an old boy died up on the flat. And my joiner was up doing the refurb on the flat across the road fit, and he says, oh, the fucking ceiling had to come down, it's leaking. The boy above it said he's getting his landlord out to fix it. And I was like, we've got the whole fucking block. And I just, one comment, I was busy, and then he said to me the next day, he's like, oh, but it's fixing that. And I was up the next day, and he says, oh, the boy came out and sent the plumber, and I thought, brilliant. That rent would be 625, 650. We're getting for a non-refurb one that we bought in a portfolio, we're getting 803 2-bed with Mears, and they take care of the minor maintenance. So there's ones like that, you're like, we're getting a fucking couple £100 a month more cash flow, 5-year contract, no hassle. The only thing that would put me off is, I thought we'd done it with like a lot of that block, but I thought you would maybe then tarnish the block by saying, oh, that's the asylum seeker block or whatever it is, and then you've maybe devalued the block locally by...
Well, you see what happened in Ireland there? I've got an investor over there, and one of his get tanned and like put in fire because they found out asylum seekers are in it, and insurance...
They'll get targeted by racists.
There's just so much negativity around it, like, and stuff like that.
The first one we put in me is like, I asked the story and want to know like the full background, and it was actually heartbreaking. Like, it was I think it was a guy that came on from Iraq. I can't remember if he was Pakistani orient, but they because he was helping the Iraqis' enemies, they fucking went to execute him and his family, and then they got his family and they executed all his family, and there was still hunting him. So he had to flee the country, and I'm thinking, he's a doctor, and he's in at Aberdeen University as a doctor working. I'm like, this is a doctor that's over here.
So they had
when you hear the story, you're like...
Their qualifications been fuck all in the company as well.
They had a lot of... there was an Afghan programme for a while, so a lot of the Afghanis that helped out the British Army and the Americans and that, basically they had to pull out because the Taliban took over, didn't they? So anybody that was helping out the British, they would get taken out easily. So they had to basically flee, and that's why the UK government opened up this with Mears.
In Plains and Airdrie, there was a lot of... I grew up in Airdrie, and I remember in Plains loads of Syrians just rocked up once, and I'm just like thinking, what is safer though? Plains are fucking Syria. I'd be asking to get back to Syria, man.
From a guy from Plains as well. You grew up in Plains, didn't you?
I grew up in Thrashbush, so it was like, I knew a lot of folk from Plains though, because I went to St Margaret's High school, but I played golf up there at Easter Moffat when I lived in Airdrie as well, so I know, and my brother works in the naughty school up there, St Phillips.
How many miles a year do you do in your car?
Too many, man.
The naughty school.
St Phillips it's called.
Is that a 1980s term, is it?
I don't know. It's just
bad boy school.
It's bad boy school. That's what my mom used to say when I was naughty when I was a wee. Like, you're going to the bad fire. You go to the bad fire if you're hungry. You're bad.
Still got to tell that. So the good, the bad, and ugly. That's
a bit close at home then, mate. We need to bring it a bit
up the road.
Out in Scotland. Have you seen any dodgy stuff lately?
It's just obviously you see sometimes you'll go in the WhatsApp groups and somebody's got something, they've both put the same deal in, but somebody's got it a couple of grand higher, or somebody's got a higher fee and stuff like that. I think some folk are chucking hand grenades to investors, let's be honest as well. Like, I've got one in legals now, and I said to the boy's hounding me, he's like, when's this completing? Because obviously we're going to get a fee off it. I take the fee on completion off this boy because it's a footballer client, and I want to build a good relationship with him because he's played in the Premiership and stuff like that, and he's like introducing me to people, so I always take it on completion with him, and he's hounding me, but it was sold as a non-factored deal, and the lawyers picked up that it might be factored. So I just said to him, I was like, mate, like, I want a fucking fee. I know I'm skint, like, but at the end of the day, like, we can't chuck a hand grenade. And then he's like, you love a hand grenade? And I was like, no, you do. So you get people like, the auction house will send them something, then they're just slapping a $4,000 fee on top, and they've not even fucking viewed it. Stuff like that. So I had one that I was buying, and when I went to view it, the refurb was double what it had been quoted and stuff like that. So I just pulled at it. Luckily it was probate, and the probate, like,
did you lose money out of that?
I got the money back because it was an auction purchase. It lasted fucking 8 months. But then I bought another auction one in Huntly. It was a really good result, to be fair. I bought it off Connor Fletcher, so he's decent. He's a nice wee guy. He brought me, the home report was 85. I got it 39,999 plus an auction fee plus his fee, so like 48. I spent $5,000 on it, and I revalued at 100.
Nice.
And that's
right. Okay.
2-bed terrace house.
You think a lot of the sources that are coming out aren't experienced enough to fucking get the refurb price right now?
The refurb. So we done one recently, and it was when I'm looking at the renovation, they had strip out but not waste removal, and I'm like, you just got to fucking leave all the shite there because it skips. There's labour, there's skips and stuff like that. So it's just wee things like that that can all of a sudden, if it's a $15,000 rental, then it becomes 16, 17. It changes the deal because it's marginal at times. Yeah. So
can we talk, and I'm kind of aware that we're talking a lot of jargon here and talking fast for people, and we've got a lot of listeners who are just trying to get into property as well, right? So one of the big things that I've seen lately is kind of these back-end mandates and these. So can we explain to people like what these are and what to be aware of? And I think we'll touch on the auction fees and the buyer's premiums and that as well.
Yeah. So the back-end mandates, obviously they've agreed like a fee with the seller essentially.
So the agent or the auction company or whoever it is, or the estate agent has agreed the price with the seller.
Yeah. And then they're putting a skim on top. So it shows on Land Reg. So I bought one, I was talking about it before here, I bought it for 39,999 and I found out he'd agreed it at 27, charged me near enough 13 basically mandate, and then he charged me a fee as well. And then the renovation was nearly double what he quoted.
Do you think
I get fucking scudded?
Do you think it's morally right to charge a mandate on them?
I think it's all right if it's... Do you think it needs to be transparent, or do you think it's fine if they don't disclose it? Or
we done one in England and we disclosed it to the buying solicitor.
It's if you're acting, a lot of them are acting for the buying and the selling. It's like, how can you act for both parties and be more like, I'm getting you the best deal, but I'm also
so that's a conflict of interest.
I think it seems like it's a conflict of interest to me all the time.
I've not done many mandates, but we've done one with a big one in Aberdeen, and the lawyer said that to us. It's morally wrong, but to be honest, I've done it 3 or 4 times probably in my time.
But I suppose if you're up front and honest with them and everyone knows, then
we've done one in England with a $7,000 one, and we told the buying solicitor at the time as well, so they knew about it.
So I think it's all right if it's like, I don't know, like $5,000 or something.
It was split 3 ways though, so it was like, now like you've got a deal, but you've maybe got an investor, but I've got an investor that lost, because that's what happens. A lot of people split it. So the boy brought me the deal. I knew a boy that buys. I know a boy that has a buyer with certain amounts, and we all clubbed together, and we split the mandate 3 ways because the boy only paid like a $2,000 fee. But
the question is the seller aware of it?
The seller was because that's, you need to position it to them, don't you? Aye. So I tell them it's a fee the buyer's covering, which essentially is, you know what I mean? Because say we've agreed $100,000 and then it's 105, and then the way I position it to them when I do one is like, right, you're no liable for it if it falls through, and it only gets paid when it goes through as well. But I mean, if you can get it, fair enough. Do you know what I mean?
But it's because
if the deal still stacks,
absolutely. But if you're charging the $100,000, taking the property $100,000. Charging the back end mandate and taking 105 on it, and then charging a seller's fee, another $5,000. They don't know that. They're just thinking, oh, you're taking that $5,000 fee from the seller, but you're actually charging them a $5,000 fee as well.
Aye. So they're losing $5,000 for the property, plus they're paying.
Aye.
So
but it's up to the seller though, isn't it? If they want it. So if they're taking the fuse,
a lot of people probably just don't understand, and that's where it's a wee bit like, you know, people that are in vulnerable situations. Fine if it's a landlord, an investor, whatever. They know they're savvy, they're clued up. Yeah. If it's a little old woman who's selling the house, who's, you know, I don't know, man.
There's a certain agency obviously up here that are well known for that. So we're speaking about it off camera. And my friend was buying one off them, and it turned out he was buying it off his best friend's son. Like it just found out by coincidence, and it was a $95,000 purchase he'd agreed, but it was actually 70 they'd agreed, and they positioned it to the seller that he was doing a refurb on it, and he was doing this, so you need to put it through at the front end so you can claim it back in the back. So that was a $25,000 mandate, and he was paying a buyer's premium for one. If it was a portfolio, but fair enough, but fucking one house.
See that $25,000? That's a life-changing amount of money for somebody.
That's a deposit for that's like, he could like, see if someone's in financial difficulty, that could properly clear their feet.
It depends on the circumstances, but I would struggle to do that knowing that somebody's like struggling in life. And potentially they could have got a $25,000 extra for their property.
I had a lassie
I'm being greedy and taking it for myself.
I had a lassie that was getting repossessed in the North East, and I made her an offer where she'd have walked away with $15,000, and she refused it. And then it went, she owed the bank 60, I offered her 75, and then it went in auction for like 58. And I texted her after it saying, like, I could have cleared your feet there. She rented it to Albanians during COVID, and she never knew what they were going to do with the house. She was obviously trying to keep the cash going.
What about the other one is the non-refunding of buyers' premiums or buyers' fees, whether it be $3,000-4,000 or whatever, with certain agents, and then people not getting them back, but nothing because their own fault. It's not like they've been declined the mortgage or the bridge and they're in like that. It's because the actual seller's pulled out through no fault of their own, and they're not getting these buyer's fees refunded. Have you heard about that?
So when I came back to Ibiza there, my laptop got bumped that we covered at the start of it, so I came back to a shit show because I'm keeping the deals ticking over, and I processed about 5 or 6 refunds when I came back, and it hurts, but obviously I would rather have my reputation intact with someone than bump them at a fee.
It's short-sighted when people do that, for the fuck's sake of a few grand, just refund it, didn't go your way, refund them, and they'll come back to you. Somebody
actually messaged me the other day, and he's like, how you get so many reviews in Trustpilot? And I was like, well, I'll just ask as soon as the transaction finishes. But there's actually one on there. A boy bought a portfolio office, and the seller messed about, and then he had to pull out, and I gave him his feedback straight away, because I'm like, you've gave him ample time. If the buyer fucks about and stuff like that, I'd be like, fair enough.
I can get that because then it's like, you know, the seller's at a loss. So, but then there's the point, like, where does that fee then get passed on, you know, to the seller? Because I know, like, so the guys at Prime and all that, it's under auction terms, so they take the deposit, I don't know about the buyer's premium, I'm not sure, but they take the deposit, and then if the buyer pulls out or doesn't go through, then the deposit's passed on to the seller.
I just think, see if it's not their fault, man, I would always refund it, or because it's just not worth it in the long game, because that could be somebody that buys, like, for example, see I'm doing the lettings now, that could be a portfolio landlord I've just cost there for the sake of a couple of grand, and obviously it's a lot of money.
Some of these big companies that are doing it doesn't seem to stop them, despite looking at their Trustpilot reviews.
I just think it's short-sighted. Like,
have you not noticed how they get a plethora of 5-star reviews, freshly made account, they've all had an amazing experience?
What we want to do in the podcast is make people aware. Obviously we had the solicitor on before as well, talking about how to protect yourself.
Lindsay,
I use Lindsay. Private investor finance and that as well. You still doing a bit of that?
I do quite a bit of it, to be honest with you, but like I'm doing probably so I've got people that will fund things and then they tend to just roll on the next deal. Like, so I've had so many folk that I go to pay them back and then roll on the next deal. So for example, I bought a bungalow in the northeast. He then rolled it on to my 8 cottage flats. It revalues at 140. But they just like some of them tend to roll on, and then I've got a guy who's I'm refinancing 2 to pay him off now, and he's going to keep it short term, and then he's going to go back. The guy that financed the 2, he took a break for a bit, and then he's funding my London one. So you build this relationship.
What are you offering? What sort of rates? Different?
I tend to offer them 10% first charge, 6 months. So it's 20% annualised, but it works out. By the time you pay your bridging fees, your undertakings and stuff like that, it works out the same, and you're getting it to an actual individual. And because, like, when I got that London flat, I text him the numbers, and he's like, "Yep, I'm in." Whereas imagine going together and doing that at Shawbrook.
I'll wait 3 days, 4 days, 5 days.
So you're dealing with actual people, and see when you deliver to them, that's the ability to call deals on quickly.
Wait, I get slated from Stephen because I'm going to Lindsay and say, right, okay, we're doing it all by the book properly. This is the due diligence you should do. This is all the checks you should. Stephen's like, fuck that, man. Like, if somebody's going to come at me with that many questions, I'm just going to the next person.
See, to be fair though, like I had a guy and he was a professional footballer and he's worked hard all his life and he's now in his 50s. So he played in the Premiership and stuff like that as well, played for Rangers, and he wanted all this stuff, and I sent him my full portfolio schedule and stuff like that as well, sent it to his lawyer. I then suggested I've got a company fee up here that I stopped buying in, and I've started buying in it again because I've got losses to carry forward. So he was like, there's fuck all in there. And I says, well, there's going to be though, and I was explaining the thing, and then I'm showing him what's in legal. So I think it is a pain in the arse, but if you want to work with someone, at the end of the day, like, they're handing over like 100 grand, 200 grand. So
I would always advise, I'll stick to the advice.
Portfolios, I'd ask for a portfolio schedule or whatever. Like, I've obviously lent people money before and stuff like that, and it's not went well for me, so definitely do your digital.
That as well.
Don't take your advice.
No, I don't. Mate, listen, I'm cutting a bit of this one.
Folk are always chances as well. I remember
100%.
when we first kind of kicked off the podcast, there's a local guy to me, he's on Facebook all the time, fucking quite prolific. And you know, they get on the phone to you to try and pick your brains to be a I'm going to be a prime investor. That was the carrot dangling to get you on the call. And then you spend an hour and a half, 2 hours giving them value, giving them time, and they suss what you're fucking doing. Then you put a deal to them, they're like, nah. They're wasting my fucking time jumping through hoops for you to still say no. But it's, I think it's when people want to work with you, they'll want to work with you. They'll follow you for long enough, they'll get to know you, they'll fucking sell a deal, you do a deal with you. But I suppose if it's big lumps of money, you didn't mind.
Mate, I had a guy, and he works at Goldman Sachs, and he wanted to know how many bits of toilet roll last like my arse with, mate. I'm not joking. He wanted to see my foot. Like, I had to do 10 different, but he's like, but obviously he's high up in the bank, so he's doing
due diligence at a fucking huge level.
You were in that industry, so you know how it is.
I came that for about 2 minutes. But he's high up in it. But it was funny because he invited me down. He's like, what you wearing? I'm like, I'm wearing a trackie. He's like, for God's sake, because he's a director at Goldman Sachs. I'm walking down, there's a fucking bouncer outside. He's like, you're right, mate. I says, I'm in to see this person. He's like doing a double take. But see, that's enough. No, I got in. But he's like, that's a good thing. Like, I'm dressed less and they're taking you serious. They don't care about what you're wearing. It's what you can deliver. But his due diligence was off the charts, man. And I gave him everything that he needed. But it was genuinely, what's your plans? I want to see your physical backup here if this doesn't go to plan. I want to see this, I want to see that. So you don't mind it. But
think how quickly it would take a millisecond to destroy your reputation as well, because you're so well known now. We were talking before we came on the podcast today. We're having a good old gossip about this one, the next one, mention all the names. You know what I mean? So it takes, like, because we've got the community kind of wrapped up now. It'd be like that to destroy your reputation.
Because it spreads like wildfire. Like, look what he's done to me. He's done to me. I've had ones that haven't went to plan. Like, I don't get it right every time. I fuck up.
Everybody does. It's human nature, but it's how you deal with it. Absolutely.
So I had a boy the other day, and he bought one off me months ago. and it was meant to be a 15 grand reno, and the other sourcer obviously like not even probably viewed it. It turned out it was 25 reno. Gave his money back straight away, which is 4 grand. So like it's now 19 grand in my head, and then I paid for his flat roof to get done, which was 2.5 grand. Jeez, so rather than making 4 grand, I was 2.5 down. That's a 6.5 swing. And I phoned them at the end of the renovation. I says, by the way, mate, the reason why the renovation's cheaper is because I've paid for this. I just didn't want to tell you at the time. So you need to take a longer view.
You should start offering that 30-day money back guarantee, you know, like they do with the courses. Like the gurus come out with that. If you don't get your money back, you know, I'll give you all your money
financially
back.
Free in 8 days and that. So we've started, like, another thing as well, it's mad how things go arm's legs. I started doing showdown days because folk were saying, you're putting fake deals up, and I'm like, well, come down. Yeah. So people are coming down, and there's people that come to every one. They're like, there's new houses every time. And then off the back of that, with
are you getting into property education? Is that something you're thinking about?
I can't be arsed with it, to be honest with you.
Hated me.
There's people in the North East I've taught them how to source, but it's just for deal flow. So I say to them, right, I'll teach you how to source.
Here's what I get, you bring me the deals.
And then they bring me the deals because they don't know what to do with it.
Mentoring, coaching.
I love doing the deals and stuff like that and building my portfolio. Like, and this is the thing as well. Like, somebody said to me, you should start charging 10 grand to people. I'm like, for what though? And like, I don't think it's basically hard work that's got me basically where I'm at. So I'm still doing the phone calls like you're saying about the miles. I'm driving up here, there and everywhere. I'm doing the events. I'm staying to 11 and 12 o'clock at night, and most people haven't got that. Like, they just don't want it enough. And then see, over time, that's probably how I've managed to grow so well, because when you compound that over 3 years, so when I was still working, I was obviously dedicating essentially full-time hours. Then when I went full-time in it, I'm dedicating 12, 13, 14 hours a day, all day, every day. And Ibiza there was 2 weeks, and it was because my laptop got nicked, and I was like, do you know what, I'm getting married, like, slow down for a couple of weeks. So when you compound that over time...
Bet your missus arranged to get it still on there.
That was an inside job. She's still got the 20 grand as well. Speak to me on an account.
This fucker's not taking time off for this wedding. Get his laptop still on.
It's just things like that, do you know what I mean? It's like, it just compounds over time, and then I'm still doing what I was doing for day one, but I really need to, like you said, start taking a step back for things that aren't valuable for me anymore. So like phoning utilities companies today, fucking get the power back on, council tax, all that shit. So I'm starting to do stuff like that. But I'm in a good spot now.
Nice, mate. What does the rest of the year look like for you then?
The rest of this year, so I'm moving house soon, residential. So when I raised a good bit of money in January, and I messaged an agent because I had an inclination. I found out this guy had died in the estate, and I knew who was going to get the probate for it. So I had an inclination of agent. So I messaged him saying, I'm after deals. Like, have you got any flips, big ones? And he's like, come see it. And I fucking loved it. So it's round the corner from my house, double the size of mine. It's worth 500. I'm getting it for 425.
Nice.
But I'm using the equity in my house as a deposit. So my mortgage is only going up about 70, 80 grand. And then I'm going to self-fund the refurb and leave the equity sitting in. So we're going to have a big renovation project. The lettings, I want to grow that to at least 100 plus, maybe 150 for the end of the year. Sourcing, I just like to put a big focus on that. I put a big focus on it anyway. I've done about 11 deals in the last week and a half. For me, that's shite. I need more. So probably build a bit of a cash pot as well.
So where would the growth come in the sourcing then? Because it sounds like you don't really need that many more like investor clients. So is it more just getting the deals through, the deal flow?
I would say even stuff I would buy, there has been stuff I've traded on that I would buy, or stuff I've had in legal. So maybe just focus on that more, because then the investors, again, like, they'll just keep coming back for more if you're getting the good deals, because there's investors that will just call a deal on the heartbeat that I work with.
And do you work with, like, as estate agents that will come to you directly as well and stuff like that? Is that a big thing?
So there's an estate agent that passes me all his off-market stuff, and I was away in Ibiza for 2 weeks, so he spoke to other sourcers, and he's like that. He says, I've realised for speaking to them how well we work together.
Okay.
And I was just like, Tim, you've tried the vest, come back. Tried the rest, come back to the vest. There's a laugh, but it's just that relationship, the trust that. Because I'll just half it down the middle with him. So, for example, he'll put me in front of a seller. There's been times where he says, like, if you want to sell off market, there's this guy Chris that will buy your house. He's like, he's a bit mad. Jumps about with Super Mario taps and Nike track he's on, and he's got this big fucking Alsatian, but he'll buy your house. So he puts me in front of the seller and, like, see, building that trust, see the off-market stuff, it comes for repeated buying, and then you get the heads up for agents and stuff like that. By the way, this is coming, and it's already tied up before it hits Rightmove. So for anybody watching, if you've saw something that's went on Rightmove and sold that day, it's already been tied up, but the agent just has to put it on for the stats. And that's for building that relationship, because I went down with no contacts or nothing.
The Alsatian got you a deal as well in the last podcast.
He's got me a few, man. biggie. Honestly, he's the best dog ever, man. And his sourcing fees are cheap as well. Just a couple of cookies or a bit of roast beef. So,
so if anybody listening, wants to follow the Kris Dalziel playbook, I know it's not been an overnight success. Nah. That's for sure. Because we followed your journey, like you say, it's taken a couple of years to get to this point. Relentless posting on social media as well, which I'm sure has brought you a few opportunities too.
I had a professional footballer. Again, I've seemed to get a lot of traction with footballers as well, and then like a few of them follow me, and then they're introducing me, and they move clubs quite a lot as well. So this guy followed me and actually done deals with some of his old teammates. So we got on the call and we spoke for a good bit, and then he's like, I can tell already, I like trust you just for seeing your socials, so they feel like they know you. But I says, how did you find me? He's like, fucking TikTok. But I was fat as fuck the last time I was on this podcast, right? I'm just fat now instead of fat as fuck. Good, but I was getting trolled, so I'm like, I can't be arsed for this, like sitting arguing. Like, I'm putting about BRR and folk are saying like, you're going to take a heart attack and all that. And I was talking about mitigating risks, and they're like, you need to mitigate your belly. And I'm like, I can't be fucked to this. So I had got a bank of content, put it up, and then he just saw it on the algorithm, and it was there, and then he followed me on Instagram, and that was it.
And I mean, top player? Like a decent player?
I played for Rangers, played
Newcastle?
No, played in England as well. Like,
because I seen there was a boy who played for Newcastle, one of your posts as well.
But I don't like naming names and stuff like that.
You'll see if you go on
Instagram. But there was a boy who played for Newcastle at my wedding as well. Like, I used to work with his missus, and we got in contact because she's Scottish. When I moved into Newcastle, we kept in touch, got back in touch, and then they were at my wedding and stuff like that. But she knew me I was a fucking getting sacked for holiday rating, and then in Ibiza as well, and then going back, it's full circle. They're coming to a kind of a nice environment wedding. But I would say the playbook, just try and be honest with folk, document everything as well, and post negative things, because you actually get a lot more off the negative stuff than the positive. I had a footballer who has a burner account, and he's like, I followed all the sources and watched them. He's like, you posted a few issues, and he's like, that's my guy. Absolutely. Because everybody else is all like, this is brilliant and this is this. So post the negatives, because so many folk identify with it. And like, even my missus sometimes says like, you need to stop posting negativity, and I'm like, but I think it works. It does,
because it basically that's what gives the trust. And the trust is a huge thing.
And the thing is as well, like you say, like I'm talking about deals that I've fucked up on as well, because the buck stops with me. If I'm leading an investor into a deal who's in London, they're buying an office based in Marseille, so then it's my responsibility to make it right. And I managed to get him on a guaranteed rent contract, gave him his money back and stuff as well, and paid some of his refurbs. So try and have a decent moral compass as well. You will fuck it up, like just it's inevitable.
Right. I think I got my biggest private investor, my first private investor in 2017, by posting up that a tent had burnt in my flat twice in the 1 week. And I remember thinking, fuck it, I'm putting it on Facebook. And I put it on Facebook, and the person that was following me for a couple of years and wanted to get involved in property was like, fuck it, here, just take my money, you can do it. That looks like hassle. And I thought, you didn't want to showcase the negative, surely. Nobody's want to see that. But
why do you think I played the role of negative Nick for all these years, man?
He's no charges in company's house because he's buying all cash. Scrooge McDuck over there, man.
He's sitting there playing.
He's sitting with AI glasses on the now, scanning company's house, seeing how he's getting liquidated, isn't he?
Why you're up to 80 there?
You just like, see if you're going back to the playbook thing, just be as honest as possible. Like, go and get yourself out there as much as possible as well. Like, ignore your mates at the start as well, because I was getting roasted off them for posting like, what's the yield on this, no, and then the same people are now phoning me for advice on property, and then like again, like it's just mad, the phone book. So I'm away to meet another ex-Premiership footballer after this today and stuff like that, and it's like, this is my fucking life now, whereas I'd be going meeting wee Joe for the scheme for a couple of pints.
I always remember, man, like when I started doing the social media and all that, and I went out, and it was where I used to have a life, and I used to go out, not anymore, but it's not many people were doing videos back then. It was probably about 10 years ago. And we went out a night out, some of my mates, and I always remember going down like Byers Roads, and we'd had a few already, and like one boy's like stepping out in the middle of the street going, hey, Nick Ponton here, and all that, like just fucking screaming down the street, holding his phone up and all, just taking the absolute piss. I mean, do you know what I mean? So you have to go through that, just let people do it.
But the thing is, as well, I see when you document everything as well, if somebody lands on my page, there's fucking hundreds of posts, and it's all me that posts it. I just post, here's what I done yesterday. I forgot to post this morning, but cut a screen, even if it's a cut of screenshots, here's what happened yesterday. It's consistency.
I think that could just cut you out from a big pack. If you look at the amount, hundreds of people who are getting involved in property, and the very few that are actually putting their face on real stories You know, they're actually doing a face to camera post.
I think it's quite good. Right? And then see, sometimes when I'm out walking the dog as well, just things pop in my head. So I've been talking for months about how hard it's been being in all these bridging loans, like buying more than I should have. But then I'm coming to the end of that now, and they're all up for let, and they're now getting tenanted. So the tide's now turning. So I just think, like, just be as honest as you can. Try and not talk shite about deals and stuff like that as well, and
be authentic with it.
Be authentic, and just like don't bullshit. Folk can see through it. Do you know what I mean?
That's
and then
good.
Don't associate with dicks as well, because there's been a couple of times recently where I've maybe done deals and they've not been secure and stuff like that, but the investors pissed off at me because, and rightly so, because I'm sending them something, they're spending time getting offers in, and then it's no secure, or this has happened or this has happened. So just watch who you're working with as well.
Brilliant, mate. That's really good value for listeners, and great to see a bit of behind the scenes as well. I know you put it all on Instagram, so people follow along your journey on Instagram, yeah? Is that the best thing to tag you in the show notes?
So DL Ventures is I've got a page that I had for just when I was growing up and stuff like that, but I rebranded that to Kris for DL Property. That's my personal page, but I barely go on it. It's all DL Ventures. Like I'm basically obsessed with this. I'm 24/7. So that's what an agent said to me the other day as well. He's like, your life's consumed by this, which is why it's fine.
Married last month, divorced next year.
You must she became a millionaire fucking in 2 minutes.
You've been a long time with your missus, though, haven't
7 years. It's all because of her I'm doing this, honestly.
Yeah,
genuinely. Shout out Paige.
She fully supports you as well.
Get that clip mate for you.
But see, the thing is though, it's like I moved because of her, and she was pushing me to do all this. So and see, with like just having that positivity, and like she was saying as well, like at the start, she's like, it was heartbreaking just watching this rejection every day. But you in your head, you were like, I'm going to do 100 deals and all that.
You can tell she's supportive as well. She sometimes comes in the wee stories and the videos and all that, doesn't she? So she doesn't mind all that. She's like,
she's funny because she doesn't actually have any properties, but people think she is because like she just picked up the terminology.
Charles, now she's got half the portfolio.
I need to get fucking in her sass as well, man. I've been hounding her for that for ages.
You're sitting in that private investor right under your feet there.
Exactly. In your bed.
But that, she's been probably the best investment I've made, really, and that's like she's so supportive of everything. Like she really just got me to think bigger and stuff like that. She said that to me. She's like, you can do anything you want, but you want to just cut a bit of Airdrie being a dickhead, basically. And I was like,
we probably didn't give our partners enough credit for me because
she puts up with hell, man.
They put up with some shit, but then that support network that's behind you that fucking allow you to go out there and go and do it.
Aye.
If they weren't there, if they were that negative one, I mean, you know yourself, some of your pals that have got toxic relationships that are in the next bar, and how can they get a career or get movement in because they're always fucking worried about their missus burning in their clegs and they're chatting about the house or whatever the fuck mood she's in. So if you've got a stable, supportive partner, it can work wonders for you.
She's honestly brilliant, man, and like the help from her as well. And like some days I don't see her, or some days I'll say to her, I'm away to Switzerland, I'm away to Zurich tomorrow, I'm away to London, and she doesn't complain because like she sees the bigger picture as well. But it was good to see even putting that wedding on and stuff like that, like how happy it made her and her family and stuff, because it was basically, that was her dream wedding we put on.
She got the reward from it as well.
And then obviously we're going to the new house and stuff, and she obviously made sacrifices moving to Newcastle because she was in London at the time, and the jobs are all in London for what she does, so she's made a big sacrifice for a fat baldy cunt in the night.
We'll finish
that. Keep it real.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
No problem at all. Thanks, man. It's been good.
Safe journey back down the road.
Thanks a lot, mate. Looking forward to part 3.
Cheers.
I lost it.